UI. Will user will can user understand this underscores and all? No, right? It is only for developers. It is only for us developers. Only we write these names using underscores because we cannot have a space between any name, correct? But when it comes to a good UI, this can be read by, let's say, an old person, a very young kid. They should be able to understand this. Okay, these underscore things only we understand as a developer. They won't understand it. So we always have to think of the user, which is the end user who is going to use this. Okay, now after that we have one more uh, argument. Okay, let me call it as uh, let us call it here itself. Okay, I will call it as required true. Means what? Tell me. If I give required equal to true, that means I am making this field as a mandatory field. Correct? We are making this field as a mandatory field. That means no one can leave this particular field blank. While submitting the data, we cannot leave this particular field as blank. Now let me say if I give here required equal to false, that means I'm making it as non-mandatory field, correct? A user may choose not to put his last name if he doesn't have, correct? Now here I will just reload and let me just pass some data. I will just pass some data. I will not put anything in the last name, okay? Email, I will write some email, okay? And some message will write. If I submit, what will happen? It will get submitted or not? Yes, it is going to get submitted, correct? See, it got submitted. Now let me not write anything into my first field, but rest what it is giving me, it is giving me please fill out this particular field, correct? If I try to submit, it is giving me please fill out this field. Why? Because this field is a mandatory field. Until and unless we fill some data into this field, it is not going to get submitted. See, now it got submitted, correct? So this is about your required. Okay, then one more field we have. Now let me just write let me just remove this required field because you guys understood about required field. Okay, so let us say I want to have some default message into it. Okay, let us say I want to have some default message already written. It is going to be shown for each and every person. Because Manali, I kept required field as false for that particular last name I kept required equal to false. So I made it non-mandatory, right? But for the first name, I kept it required equal to true. That's why. Okay. So now we are working on this message, right? I want to have some default message here. Okay. We'll have some default message here already. How am I going to do that? For that, we have one argument called as initial. Okay. Initial equal to, I'll just say write your message something. Okay. Now what will happen as soon as I reload here, there will be some by default text already present. What is the name? What will be there? Which text will be there? This text. So initial basically works like the value attribute. All no, not placeholder. No, no. This is where you get confused. Not a placeholder, but all of you know about value attribute, correct? Value attribute does what? It contains some default value already, right? Already some value is present there. We just we use it when during the time of edit functionality, edit operation or update operation. You guys must have seen, right? We override some, we already have some value given. Yes. So this initial is nothing but your value. Okay. Some default value for the field. Let me reload this. As you can see, I can edit this, correct? I can edit this. That means it is not a placeholder. It is a value, correct? If I reload it, it is going to come back. It is not a placeholder, but it is a message. I can remove this entire message and write my own message, correct? So this is called as initial. Basically, it works exactly like your value attribute. Okay, it works exactly like your value attribute. And one more last for today, one more last field argument, that is, okay, I will make this as, I'll keep it required true. Okay, one thing. And okay, here we have one more argument called as disabled. Okay, we have one more field called as disabled. If I give disabled equal to false, okay, if I give disabled equal to false, nothing will happen. See, it is as it is. Okay, it is just as it is. But as soon as I give disabled equal to true, for what I am giving last name field, as soon as I do that and I reload, you see that particular field is going to get disabled. Okay, that particular field is going to get disabled. Understood? Understood some of these fields? Yes or no? Okay. Yes. So this was your forms. Okay. So what did we learn today? We just learned about how we can. Okay. We'll just not revise, but I will just summarize whatever we did today. So after this class, you guys can leave and practice it. I'm going to share these. Today I will share pictures only. Okay, I will share pictures today, right? And once I am done with a certain portion of this forms, I am going to send you the zip file. Okay, now what we have discussed so far, we started by creating one form using HTML. Okay, after that we talked some things about Django forms, correct? How we can you make use of those and all. We what is the need for it is to create forms itself, but these forms make your validation, your authentication, your form submission, your data creation, okay, your data editing, your updation, data updation very much easier. Now usually we were doing it manually, right? Correct, we were doing it manually. We were getting the data from our database, and after that we were running those queries, right, called as, let's say, task.objects.create, then task.objects.get. For update we used to do, then task.title equal to the new title, task.description equal to new description, and then task.save, something like this we used to do, correct? But when it comes to Django forms, we don't have to do all those things. Okay, you will see. See, so far you have just seen how to create a form and how to display it, and different arguments which we can pass. Only those things you have, few arguments you have seen, correct? Yes or no? Only these few arguments you have seen. Now using these forms, it is going to be very much easy. Okay, don't worry, we will see, we'll make it much more easier as we move on. Okay, so this was your today, like we saw how to create a form, correct? The syntax to create this form is almost similar to the creation of model and all these things. Then we saw various ways how we can render these forms, correct? One is manual rendering, then another is the default rendering of Django forms, which includes entire form in a div tag. Then we learned about this here as underscore p. Okay, it is going to display us in a paragraph form. Then we saw also for loop, how we can render the data using render for loop, this render form using for loop. Okay, these things we have seen today and different arguments. So I hope you guys are going to practice this. So only for today, I'll send you all these pictures. Okay. Upload to. Okay, you have to give something called as upload to. So if you are trying to copy, if you are not now, Salman, you will get messed up. After I create forms, Django forms, after that I will start with this authentication. Okay, once we are done with authentication system, once we learn how to create an authentication system, after that we are going to start with API soon after that. Okay, this Django forms might take 2 3 more classes. After that, authentication might take three like 3 to 4 classes. Okay, depends on you guys. And after that, APIs we are going to start, or maybe just soon after that we are going to start with another project. Okay, yeah, we'll just share these pictures first. First, I will do one project using authentication, Salman. After that, we will do, if you want, we will implement APIs into the same project. Okay. Yes, you guys can leave. I'll just share you guys these things. Okay. I have shared the pictures. You guys can refer to those. Okay. Only these three files: forms.html, form.html, forms.py, and views.py. Okay, wait. Salman, see, what you do is start by creating a model.